what's happening? It's your dude, the merciless Reece L. Black. Welcome back to the booth. Today I actually wanted to touch on a topic that doesn't really seem to get touched on a whole lot when it comes to the spaces of dating and relationship dynamics. So I wanted to go ahead and speak on the real reasons why men low-key are ready to settle down. Now, I know we have a whole bunch of spaces out there where dudes are going to be players for life. That's cool. Dating a bunch of women never gets old. It's true. But there are also areas where people seem to complain about, like a lot of men seem to complain about women a lot. And the reason why is because they haven't exactly settled down. They haven't found that one yet. But you're probably wondering, like, well, if men are always talking about this all the damn time or seem to be complaining about all of these things when it comes to women, why haven't they just settled down yet? Well, the real question is, why do they want to settle down? So let's go ahead and jump in. We can get burned out. Yeah, it's true. Like, there are just some times where, you know, we kind of have this tendency where when we go out, we meet new women, we get tired of the same routine over and over again. New girl, you feel like you got to have a new pickup line, for those of you that use pickup lines, but you're always just in this routine where you want to keep on getting to know someone and then ask them out, flirt with them, and then try to get them in bed. Some of you guys do that, you know, especially some of us players. Like I said, it doesn't get old, but for some men, it's like, it's the same old, same old. Why? Because it's a numbers game. And so a lot of men get tired of playing that numbers game, so they have a tendency to just go ahead and fall back. Like, I think I could just be well with just one woman. There's a lot of men out there who have this thin line when it comes to either tricking or just showing a woman a good time, right? So a lot of men, of course, the ones that trick, you know who you are. I'm not going to go ahead and give any scenarios. You guys should know the difference between tricking and treating by now. But for the men out there that like to trick, the ones that like to make it rain in the strip clubs, the one that like to pay a girl's rent, you sugar daddies and all of y'all over there, yeah, that account could kind of seem a little thin now, don't it? Especially when you know that you may not be the only sugar daddy. I guess it depends on the arrangement. I guess some of you guys have arrangements where it's like, hey, I'm your only daddy and nobody else. And then you have the men out there that just like treating a woman to show a good time. They like to take them out dancing. They like to do the dinners. They like to do the movies, amusement parks, or just even maybe trips. But the problem is you're doing this with all the women in your phone. 3 is a bit too much. We're talking about 3 women that you are actually dishing out money for to show a good time. And you're probably wising up, just thinking to yourself, damn, did any of these women do anything for me? Did any of these women want to pick up the bill and say, you know what, this dinner's on me, this round's on me, or this entertainment, this movie or whatever, it's on me. You have done enough. And a lot of you men that actually still do that, you're doing it to pursue a relationship because you are trying to settle down. But it is kind of tough if you're doing that with 3 or more women in your pocket. I know you got to try to narrow it down to 1. We do. But sometimes that 3 that you have are not making the cut. So we jump in the dating pool and you're starting the process all over and over again. And you wishing that you could just find one suitable woman that is fit for you so you can stop coming out the pockets all the damn time. When we finally have possession of our preferred woman, oh, that's it. The game is done. Ladies, I always like to say this, but a lot of you women out there, if you're talking to a guy right now, if he says that, hey, you are his first choice, believe it. But if you don't believe it, ask him what he prefers. And if he gets around his preference, how is he treating his preference? But a lot of us men, the moment we get our hands on that woman that we have preferred, our first choice, oh yeah, we're going to settle down quick. We're not just talking about physical. Yes, physical is always the first thing we look at. Are we physically attracted to this woman? But is she inspirational? Is she motivating? Do we have a whole lot of common interests? Do I feel like I cannot live without this woman? I know there's platforms out there that's telling you you shouldn't even be going that far with a woman. It almost sounds like you in love, my dude. But let's just go ahead and just cut to the chase. If you end up just finding a woman that just does it for you, that just gives you that feeling where you feel like when you look at that woman that you don't see no other woman, oh yeah, that's a keeper. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just pretty much just pay attention to what makes you happy. If you already got it going on lifestyle and personally, and you kind of feel like, you know what, I'm ready for a woman. I'm ready for someone to grow old with. I'm ready for another body to be by my side. I'm ready to like just treat one woman. This is what I'm ready for. Then of course that's when we're going to settle down. But of course we're not just going to settle down with just anybody. But most men, when they're ready to go ahead and kick the game to the curb, they are going to do it most likely with their first choice. And I hope to goodness that they're not just settling just for anybody because they feel this is all they can pull. A lot of men who are now taking the road of settling down have stopped watching a lot of dating content. There is so much content, so many platforms out there with so many coaches, dating coaches, self-improvement coaches, sex coaches, life coaches, that some it's just a little bit too much for you. We'll just say that. You might have one or two that resonate with you, but you might end up just feeling like there's just too much content that's screwing you up, pulling you in so many different directions that you don't know what to do. You're afraid to fall in love. You're afraid to date that big girl. You're afraid to date that skinny girl. You're afraid to hit that woman that hit the wall. You're afraid to date that woman who's a single parent mother. You keep on consuming all this content and you kind of feel like you're not getting any direction of who you should be with because you're not listening to yourself. You're not listening to your heart. You don't have to listen to anybody. If you found a woman that is suitable for you, then you can go ahead and settle down with that woman. And that's what a whole lot of men are now doing. They have tuned out red pill and black pill spaces. Hell, there's men out there that tuned out, platforms on the game, self-improvement. Some of them are just like, you know what? I'm going to do me. If I like BBWs, especially this one that I'm talking to right now, I'm going to see if she wants to be my girl. I'm going to see if she's cool with me being her man. Same thing with a skinny girl or a single parent mother, or if you date outside your race, or if you're dating within your race. If you just found a woman that is suitable with you, go for it. And a lot of these men have done that. They have settled down with this one woman that they found fit for them. They stopped listening to all this content and now they are off. They unplugged from YouTube, unplugged from podcasts, unplugged from, just the dating sphere, period. And they are just out having a good time with that woman. We have a lot of men who date a lot of women because they just can't be by themselves. I'm not trying to say that they rely on the presence of a woman, but some men are like that. They love being around women because women make them feel good because there's just something missing. Maybe they probably don't have a good, high enough self-esteem. So therefore they rely on women's validation when it comes to dating. Like they kind of feel like, hey, when I'm with a woman, I feel good. I feel complete. Some men are like that. These are the men that you see that are complaining on a lot of dating platforms or just a lot of platforms where they just talk about dating and women and just the social atmosphere, period, when it just comes to all of this. They want a woman. They don't want to die alone either. Some of these men, they will love to be married and they will love to have children. They want to be dads. They do. They got the baby bug. They want that marriage bug. They want to love a woman. That's why a lot of these cats, they are settling down or they want to settle down. I know we have a lot of these spaces where they're afraid of marriage, but deep down inside, your fear is not marriage. Your fear is divorce. But you have to learn how to pick your mate. And a lot of these men, they kind of figured it out now. But I don't want to be alone. I don't want to become an elderly man and nobody's coming to visit me because I don't have any kids that's coming to visit me. I don't have a woman to sit on the porch with at an old age and converse about nothing with. I'm not taking a dig at elderly people. I'm sorry. But I'm just making the point that a lot of these men, they don't want to be alone either. You can't be a player for life. It's possible, but do you really want that? Like when you push 80, how many women do you think are still going to possibly sleep with you or find you attractive when you get butt naked? Anyways, I just wanted to go ahead and throw that vid out there and you guys know how I do. I'm out this piece. Good evening, Mr. Black.
'Cause you